Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is TowerGate Day 382, March the 28th, 2018, Wednesday. Of course, you know on Wednesday, I take out the trash and I eat chicken. Every Wednesday, I take out the trash and I eat chicken. Well, where do we begin? Hey, here's a good place to start. I guess most of you have heard about the op-ed that was written by the retired former Chief Justice John Paul Stevens, where he makes the argument to repeal the Second Amendment. Well, let's see. I really hope that the Democrats in 2018 and even 2020, if possible, will take that idea and run with it. Let's have the Democrats run in 2018 in the midterms and in 2020 on repealing the Second Amendment. You know what's funny? I've been watching the Democrats for a very long time. They've been talking about this for years and years and years. But have you ever noticed how when it comes time for an election, they don't talk about it? They don't want to talk about repealing the Second Amendment when they're actually close to an election. It's not good for votes. And let's not forget how many times in the past 30, 40 years or so that the Democrats have controlled the White House and both houses of Congress. Now, they could have probably jammed some serious gun control and repeal of the Second Amendment down our throat the way they did Obamacare, but they never did, and they never will, because they know it's a political loser at election time. But I would really like to see the Democrats really go for the gusto in 2018 and make that another one of their major items that they're going to campaign on. Maybe in 2018, the Democrats can campaign on repealing the Second Amendment, making every city a sanctuary city, and let's see, what else could they run on? Oh yeah, a green economy. Let's hope that that's the top three things that they run on in 2018 and 2020. Because that would probably eliminate another 10 or 12 blue states and turn them red. You won't hear a peep out of them in the Midwest or in the South or anywhere like that when it comes time to vote about repealing the Second Amendment. You won't hear a peep out of them. It's all politics. And that's a political loser. Well, we have Debbie Blabbermouth Wasserman Schultz giving a speech yesterday where she's actually calling for bullet control. She says we don't have a right to bear bullets. This is not the first time this has been tried either. This has been around the horn 3 or 4 times, and it's laughable. And it never works. What it generally does do is it generally drives up the sale of ammunition so much to the point where you can't find any damn ammo. Now, to tell you the truth, me and, of course, growing up, we were big gun people, and we had our own shotgun loader. We loaded our own shotgun shells. We packed our own bullets. Dad would buy the casings, the bullet tip, and the powder. And we'd pack, we had our little press, and we would, because it was cheaper, because we shot a lot of rounds, and ammunition's expensive. And we could buy bulk brass, a bulk bullet, bulk powder, and pack our own bullets. And it saved us a lot of money. And it also made you appreciate each round that you squoze off, because you had to sit there and pack all those rounds, which would take a couple hours. I mean, the night before, if I wanted to go out shooting, I would pack maybe 300 bullets or something. Take me about 2 hours. So even though we had a nice little block, which we could put 60 rounds in the block, pour in the powder, put in the caps, and then we had one press, could press it all down. But a lot of people have their own bullet making materials. You can buy the big containers of gunpowder, you can buy boxes and boxes of brass, and then you just get your bullet tip, the actual bullet, and that's really all you need, and you can make your own bullets as well. So but all this is going to do is cause an ammunition shortage, especially 5.56 40 cal, you know, that type of thing. It'll cause a shortage in those types of rounds, and the price will go up, and everybody be, you know, waiting for back order to get ammo. But that's really the only thing that's going to happen as a result. It's just kind of silly, you know. You don't have the right to have bullets, and so Debbie Blabbermouth Wasserman Schultz calling for bullet control. Oh, and she's actually got the bill. She's got it written, and she's actually got 36 dimwit Democrats to sign on to it. It's laughable. It's going nowhere. It's going nowhere. Never has, never will. And it won't stop people. If, in fact, they even start having they ever even start to have a serious debate on this issue, you would have so many people stockpiling so many rounds of ammunition and then buying bulk brass, bullets, and powder that they would have enough to last them the rest of their life. You could go ahead and ban all the bullets if you wanted to, by which time you would have so many people with their own bullet making materials, and they would just simply start selling rounds out of their basement. You would create a big black market. A lot of people would make a lot of money. Everybody would get the ammo that they want. You can't stop it. You can't stop it. No, you can't. This has been proven time and time again. When there is a market for something that people want, someone will provide it. And you know they will. Let's just say that most of my friends and the people that live, say, in this area already have tens of thousands of rounds, you know, stockpiled, and they have their own bullet making materials and things and such. Again, this just shows how ignorant liberals are. They don't know that you can. They don't. I bet Blabbermouth Wasserman Schultz doesn't know that you can actually pack your own rounds, make your own bullets, pack your own shotgun shells, and all the other things. I bet she doesn't realize this because she's stupid, like most liberals. Well, it appears that Kim Jong-un has met with Xi Jinping in China. It was an unofficial visit. It's the very first time that Kim Jong-un has visited outside his country since he took over for his father. And it's been rumored that this meeting was requested by Xi Jinping. And I think that's where a lot of the pressure is coming from. Now, if in fact, and the meeting date hasn't been scheduled, but if in fact, especially prior to the 2018 election, if in fact the Trump administration is able to come to a real negotiation and agreement with North Korea to denuclearize the peninsula, if that happens, Trump will not only will the Republicans win big in 2018, despite the fact that the rhinos suck, but Trump will win massive re-election and go down as one of the greatest foreign policy presidents in history. And he's doing pretty damn good on the domestic agenda too. Trump could very easily find himself way above 50% if in fact he's able to negotiate a denuclearized peninsula in North Korea. And if that deal also includes reunification and normalization with North Korea, and they give up their nukes, that would be the biggest foreign policy success maybe in modern American history. It would be absolutely incredible. And Trump would be reelected just based on that. Easily. And there's I'd say at least a 50-50 chance that this will happen. Now in the past, you know, I would never give even a 0% chance, because Kim Jong-un in the past, it really wouldn't matter what agreement that you would sign with him. I mean, they broke every agreement they ever signed. We signed 7 agreements with the North Koreans since, what, 92? Or actually maybe going back even before that. They broke every one of them. The difference is that now there's actually someone in the White House who frightens Kim Jong-un, someone who he knows is not playing around, someone who will back up what he says he will do. And Kim Jong-un is not used to that. And China also knows this. And the last thing they want is to have a major conflict on their border, especially because they know exactly where all them North Korean refugees are going to be headed when it hits the fan. They'll be headed to China. And the last thing China wants is 25 million starving North Koreans coming across the border, leaving their back door wide open to NATO and the United States, where they wouldn't really have much to say about anything. So what China is wanting to do is they can read the writing on the wall, and they want to move and preempt what they know is going to happen in the future if they don't do something now. They know that the game has run itself pretty much out. And so China is looking at the situation and saying, well, we would rather be in a negotiation that we're a part of to negotiate some things that would be in our best interest, and we may have to give up a few things, but it would be better than allowing what is inevitable to happen, where we find ourselves on the outside looking in with 25 million North Korean refugees fleeing across the border. And so it's really just a common sense, pragmatic conclusion that China has reached, that, you know, this game has run its course. And they want to position themselves as best they can to get the best possible outcome they can. And that's where a lot of this pressure is coming from. And I imagine that Xi Jinping is probably telling Kim Jong-un, hey, listen, I've met Trump, I've talked to Trump. If the dude says he's going to waste you, he's going to waste you. Do not mess with this dude. He's someone who will do what he says he will do. And he says he's not going to allow you to test any more long-range ballistic missiles. He's not going to let you miniaturize. It's not going to happen. So here's what we think that we should do. And remember, China feeds North Korea. Yeah, they also supply them with most of their energy resources. And they're really the only trading partner that North Korea has. So China holds all the cards with North Korea. And they're finally making their play. And that's what you can see going on here. But again, if Trump can experience reunification on the Korean Peninsula and get Kim Jong-un to denuclearize, it will be the biggest foreign policy success in modern American history. Although the media won't give him credit for it, they'll say, oh, well, that was China. China did it. Didn't have nothing to do with Don. It had everything to do with China. It's Xi Jinping. He's the real hero. Let's give him the Nobel Peace Prize. That's how the media will play it. They'll never give Trump credit for anything. Nothing. Well, in the last 90 days, donations to the NRA have tripled. Thank you very much, little David Hogg. The Führer. Little David Hogg, the Führer. Thank you very much, David Hogg. Well, it appears that Uncle Bob, the executioner, Mueller, has transferred all the exculpatory evidence over to Judge Sullivan in the Flynn case. So, what happens now? Okay, so now all the exculpatory evidence, which is evidence that could be used to show Flynn's innocence or to question evidence that's been used against him, which the Judge Sullivan ordered Mueller to turn over. Mueller has, as of yesterday, turned over all that information to Judge Sullivan, who now has it. So what Judge Sullivan does now is he goes through and he reviews all this exculpatory evidence. And anything that he finds that could be beneficial to Michael Flynn's attorneys, it will be turned over to them. Now, as I've been saying, the sentencing hearing for Flynn, just like Papadopoulos, has been indefinitely postponed. Whether Flynn can have the charges dropped or whether he is pardoned or however it works out, Flynn is never going to be sentenced. Probably Papadopoulos isn't going to be sentenced either, for other reasons. But that was the big fish for Mueller, and it looks like he's going to wiggle off the hook. And it looks like he's back in the game. Flynn's been told things are about to shift in your favor, things are about to go your way, and as soon as this case is over and we find out how it resolves, immediately you can expect Flynn's attorneys to file a countersuit against Mueller, the Department of Justice, the FBI. It will be a civil rights violation case where the government will settle out of court with Flynn and pay him millions. He's getting all his money back and his house. And Uncle Bob's going to look like a fool once again. Now Gates, Manafort's partner, unfortunately decided to cooperate. He'll regret that. But not Manafort. Manafort is fighting every single charge in both of the cases where there have been court filings. So Manafort's a fighter, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him win his cases either. When it's all said and done, Mueller's going to walk away with his tail between his legs like a whipped puppy and in very low spirits, having failed to do the job he was assigned to do. The executioner will have failed massively, and he may be looking at some needing to get his own legal representation for his activities around the Uranium One deal, which is coming. Christopher No-Shit Sherlock Wray, the FBI director, has now doubled the number of agents from 27 to 54, and he now has them working round the clock to produce the documents requested by Chairman Goodlatte, who last Thursday sent a subpoena because there were 1.2 million pages of documents that had been turned over by the IG to the DOJ, and Goodlatte and other committee members have requested those documents, including Nunes. But they've been very slow. So today, Christopher Wray wrote Mr. Goodlatte a letter because both Nunes and Goodlatte have said if they don't get these documents when they come back on April 9th, they're going to go for contempt of court, and they can actually have people removed, including Christopher No-Shit Sherlock Wray. It requires a majority vote in the House and a 2/3 vote in the Senate, and they can remove his ass, and they'll do it if they can. Christopher Wray doesn't want to go down that road, so he sent a letter to Goodlatte and said, hey, got your subpoena, got the message. I agree that we've been very slow in getting the documents you requested. So, I'm now doubling the number of agents. We're going to work round the clock, and we're going to be getting those documents to you. You can count on it. This includes all of the text messages between Peter Van Strokenis and Lisa Page, going back 2 years. Remember, 1.2 million pages. So far, the committees investigating in Congress have only received a little over 3 million pages. 3 million compared to 1.2, it's 3,000. They've only received a little over 3,000. So they've received about 3,000, but there's 1.2 million that need to be turned over. So that's what Christopher No-Shit Sherlock Wray is working on now. And of course, it's because he knows that we're getting very close to the release of the IG report, and it's not going to matter anyway. Speaking of the Inspector General, Michael Horowitz, the custodian. And why do I call him the custodian? Because what does a custodian do? They clean up the mess. And that's what Inspector General Horowitz has been tasked with, to clean up the mess. So in lieu of his upcoming release, Horowitz has sent a letter also to Goodlatte, because remember, it's Goodlatte's committee that works with the Inspector General. Once the Inspector General report comes out, it goes to the DOJ, and then it's Goodlatte's committee that does the expediting of getting it out to the general public and going through the process where he works with the DOJ, the FBI, and the intel community to make sure there's no classified information in the release. They'll redact some things, but Goodlatte will see, and his committee members will see, probably not all of them, but he and the ranking Democrat, probably Nunes, maybe the Gang of Eight, will see the unredacted versions of everything that the IG Horowitz releases. So in lieu of what's coming up, the Inspector General has written a brief but very informative letter to the committee chairman. And I imagine this letter went to, for sure, Goodlatte, probably Nunes, and Grassley as well. So what the Inspector General is doing now is he is saying, okay, we're getting ready to release. But what he's telling them in this letter is that because of the sheer volume of pages in this Inspector General report, that it's going to have to be released in groupings, in stages. And he's laying out what will be the grouping and stages of the release. So here is how that's going to go, according to Inspector General Horowitz, the custodian, the cleanup man. You ready? Good. The first releases from the Inspector General will deal with the Department of Justice and FBI political activity, including leaks to the media, including specific activities of FBI Assistant Director Andrew McCabe. This will be what's covered in the first release, which is due out in April. Doesn't say when in April, but it just says that sometime in April, the first release from the IG will come out. It will deal with the DOJ, FBI political activity, leaks to the media, and specifically focus on the activities of FBI Assistant Director Andrew McCabe. And I imagine he'll be getting indicted shortly after that, along with others. Following that, the next batch and the second release will deal with the FBI and DOJ conduct, the politicization of investigations, plural. The politicization of investigations. Also, the Hillary Clinton email investigation. So the second release will cover FBI, DOJ conduct, the politicization of investigations, and the Hillary email investigation. A lot of heads are going to roll on that second release. This will be where Comey, Yates, Lynch will all three have to face the music here, as well as McCabe, Strzok. Of course, Strzok and those people have cut a deal. They're probably still going to face some sort of charges. They'll just get some leniency. The third release will deal with reports, and this will be done in several different groupings because it's such a large category. It will deal with several reports on DOJ, FBI representations to the FISA court. Also, application issues with the FISA court, as well as investigations surrounding Christopher Steele, Fusion GPS, and private contractor abuse of FBI, DOJ databases. That would be directly relating to the 99-page FISA court document where we learned that the FBI provided access to the NSA database to third-party contractors. So he's obviously looking at that. So this third round, which will be several reports because it's such a large amount of things that will be released, so many pages, is going to be broken up, but it will cover several reports on DOJ FBI representations to the FISA court, also application issues to the FISA court, investigations surrounding Christopher Steele and Fusion GPS, as well as private contractor abuse of FBI, DOJ databases. Now, the Inspector General report will first be sent to Sessions, Rodentstein, and Wray, where they will review the release of the report before it goes to Bob Goodlatte's committee, where it will be made public. Congress will see the unredacted version of the IG report. The public report will likely have some redactions that deal with classified information. But eventually, it'll all come out. So there you go. There is the IG basically laying out how his report's going to come out. It'll be done in stages, broken up into groups, and separated by various parts of his investigation. But we can see here that it covers an awful lot of the things that we deal with here on TowerGate. So it looks like we're getting closer to that release date. Chucky Schumer is threatening lawsuits against Trump if he tries to use the Pentagon or the defense budget to build the border wall. Well, he can probably cause some problems. But the fact of the matter is, securing the border is very popular. It's a very popular issue. Does Schumer want to make this a political football and a political issue in an election year? We'll see. It's a stupid move, but he's a stupid man. So go ahead, Chucky. Use the wall. Try to block Trump from building the wall, however he chooses to do it, based on national security, the border being a national security issue. Go ahead and try to use lawsuits to stop Trump from building the wall in an election year with an issue that's very popular with people around the country who support securing the border. Well, we're getting an idea of how the Republicans are going to battle in the midterm elections, and where we can see what's going on right now in this battle for the Senate seat, where Claire McCaskill is trying to hold on. The first series of ads being run by her competitor, Mr. Hawley, is basically ads linking McCaskill to Hillary Clinton. This is exactly what they're going to do. All those things that Hillary has been saying, they're all on video, and you're going to see them again as we approach the midterm elections, because all those little things that Hillary has been saying are going to be played for you again, with the picture of the Democrat running for their seat in the video, with Hillary talking, saying the stuff she's saying, with the Democrat in the picture. They're going to link Hillary and are babbling nonsense to every Democrat running in a contested seat in 2018. Hillary is going to be the poster girl for 2018. Best player on our team. Well done. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow with another TowerGate. And tomorrow, something very interesting that's kind of going on. There was a very good article written today in The Hill. Didn't get time to cover it. It's kind of in depth. I'm still reading it. But it has to do with the Clinton email investigation, which apparently has been opened. I didn't know that. I know that this in Arkansas, they've been looking into this. U.S. attorney in Arkansas has been looking into the Clinton Foundation pay for play and charity fraud. We know about that. We know that's going on. But it appears that at some point they begin reinvestigating the Hillary Clinton email server thing. So that apparently is going on. And John Solomon, I believe it was, at the Hill. It was at the Hill. I think it was Solomon, but it could have been someone else. I'll have to look again. But did a very interesting story today with some pretty good sources about what's going on and the fact that there's actually witnesses, some we've heard before, who are being interviewed. Again, including Stone Tier and her IT guy, Pagliano, apparently has been re-interviewed. A lot of questions. A lot of questions. And some questions that were never asked when Comey and McCabe were running the show. Questions that will be asked now. Now, I've always had one question I've never heard anybody really talk too much about or ask or never heard it answered. But think about this. Hillary set up a private server in her home where we know that she had internet access, where she transferred thousands of pieces of classified information. Who was the service provider? Was it the government? Is the government an internet service provider? I don't think so. They have an intranet, which they use for secure communications within the Capitol and various agencies and committees and things and such. But that's not what Hillary had. No. She had internet. I'm sure. Some internet company. And she was transferring data across these communication lines to her private server, thousands and thousands and thousands of pieces of classified information, through a public service provider on an unencrypted server for at least 3 months. Pagliano told us that. That's a very good question, isn't it? Who do you think was Hillary's service provider? Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow. Have a good night. Goodbye.